Welcome back, everybody, to the Sleuth Intuition channel. Great to see you all. Once again, this is a three-part segment, so if you've missed the two, you might want to go back and watch number 1 and number 2. We will be starting on page 2, or excuse me, page 20 of the probable cause affidavit after we go over a brief overview and all the updates that I've been able to gather. If you guys see anything that I've missed or think there's anything important that we could add to today's live stream, shoot me an email or let me know in the comments, please. We want to jam pack this hour and a half with as much information as we can. For those of you who just don't have the time or just can't bring yourself to read, a 32-page affidavit, we'll do it together. Good to see everybody. Jill Moser, Carol, Murray, Beach Fairy, hello. Ant-Man, welcome back. Beth, good to see you. Dee, how are you? Bird Blue, Brett Decker, Beach Fairy. Copper Horse, welcome everybody. Tech Death Hippie in the house. Good to see you, Tech. On a quick break. Okay, I think we're going to start with this video here. I pulled this video from CBS News 3 Philadelphia. They're talking a lot about how their search is expanding into Las Vegas and I believe South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go ahead and get a quick overview and an update on some things, and then we're going to move over into an article about a woman's account who she actually dated Rex Harriman. I'm not sure if she was a call girl or not. I'm sure those details will be within this article. We're going to talk about some things that people have been putting in the comments. Man, there has been some great comments. Shout out to Nana Nurse 83. Man, she smacked me right up the side of the head with this comment here. So I put a little image together with some of the stuff she was referring to, and man, it's like, yeah, it was like a one of those duh moments, you know what I mean? But we'll talk about that. I don't want to give it away just yet. Some of the crazy things that police removed from Harriman's home. Talk about the video I played shortly with him being captured. And then we'll just do a recap on everything else. And then we'll get into the final parts of the affidavit.
Island. CBS correspondent after arresting a suspected serial killer on Long Island. CBS correspondent Elaine Quijano has details now on what police found inside that suspect's home.
Police say they found over 200 guns in a vault in the basement of accused serial killer Rex Heuermann's Long Island home and are executing search warrants at multiple nearby storage facilities looking for more evidence or trophies from his alleged victims.
To think this guy was roaming around our community for so long is truly frightening.
Heuermann was arrested Thursday night.
Rex, did you do it?
And charged with the murders of 3 women, all sex workers. He is also the prime suspect in the murder of a 4th, which prosecutors feel confident they can tie him to. Their bodies were found within a quarter mile of each other near Gilgo Beach in late 2010.
Mr. Heuermann had a double life. I guess at nighttime he turned into this monster.
Police honed in on Heuermann in March 2022 after discovering he owned a truck, an eyewitness connected to one of the disappearances. CBS News has confirmed investigators recovered a car linked to the suspect in South Carolina.
So apparently he sold an old Avalanche to his brother think his brother-in-law, in South Carolina. So they're skeptical at this moment, and just like you and I, we weren't, we were wondering if he had unsolved murders under his, you know, that he's committed across the United States of America. I did have a quick conversation in the comment section on the last video with somebody, and we were talking about the fact that he killed so close to his home the way that he did. He may have other dump sites um, that may have originated when he was much younger, much more unorganized, not as sophisticated as he is, and most importantly, not as arrogant, right? So you build up to that point. So if he has other murders, and he could have, he may not have changed his MO, but he definitely could have evolved. And also, I think if he was committing murders at a younger age, they're most likely placed much further away from his residence. And also, I think they would be closer to him personally. Maybe a friend of a friend, or somebody he's bumped into personally, or maybe somebody recommended to him, or it's probably something more that he covets, right? And usually these fledgling um, killings from serial killers, which are the first few that they commit, are going to be all of their mistakes, right? So if he does have other murders that he's responsible for in other places, I have a feeling that it may be a little bit different. Because here, I mean, here, let me pull up this image. Well, we'll get into that.
Over time, they also found data
Hold
from
that thought.
7 burner phones used to contact victims, more than 200 internet searches about the Gilgo Beach investigation, and Thai DNA found on a discarded pizza crust to hair found on one of the bodies. Police found the remains of 11 people in the area of Gilgo Beach, including a toddler. They are now looking at other unsolved crimes.
There's still an awful lot of investigation that has to be done to fully understand how many people were victims to this individual.
Prosecutors say they pushed up their time frame on the arrest because HEUERMANN was closely monitoring the investigation and was a danger to the community.
One thing that we learned about Heuermann was that he was obsessed with true crime. Whenever he was alone with anybody, especially a female, he would bring up true crime and talk about this uh, the Gilgo murders. And I believe they actually interviewed his wife's sister, who lives in South Carolina, I believe, while they were towing the vehicle out of there. And I guess she was completely shocked. There was an interview done, I think, by News Nation, um, but I didn't get a chance to grab it. But I'm going to watch it as soon as we're done here, just so I can see what she said. I read like a quick quote. Okay, go ahead and throw this up on the screen. I grabbed this off of Yahoo News because I was looking it up. I first seen it on TikTok, but I don't know. I didn't want to share anything from TikTok on here and then, have something weird happen to the video or get a strike or something weird like that. So I found an article. This had all of the information and then some that was floating around on TikTok and other social media sites like that. Let's see. This one was titled "Woman Who Dated Rex Harriman Says He Wouldn't Stop Talking About the Gilgo Beach Murders and It Freaked Her Out." Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Grunge Truck. Especially when I don't know, is that the prosecutor? He made a comment like he lives a normal life and then at night he just changes into a monster. Anna said some information indicates Rex Harriman and his brother were planning some sort of compound in the woods. Maybe that's why so many guns. Where'd you find that at? That's interesting. Because I know he was moving out there. He was getting ready to retire and go live next to his brother. He's like a foot taller than Richard Allen, probably like 2 feet. The toddler found me pisses me off so bad. This is from D. Ashley. What did that baby ever do to be treated that way? What did any victim do? Yeah, the toddler is just kind of like it's it just goes to show that there's no limit to the depravity, right? Or the lengths that he'll go to satisfy his urges and to fulfill his psychotic fantasies. I mean, this guy is going to go down as uh, amongst the worst of the worst, really. All right, let's get into this here. Almost 10 years ago, a woman's date with Gilgo Beach murder suspect Rex Harriman turned creepy. He would say, "Do you like crime? Do you like true crime?" He asked over seafood. "Do you know anything about the Gilgo Beach killer?" Harriman weirded me out, she remembered. I didn't want dessert. Maybe it was his announced obsession with true crime or how he couldn't stop talking about the Gilgo Beach serial killings and knew things about the case that hadn't been in the papers. But nearly 10 years ago, Nikki Brass, then in her mid 20s, hit the brakes hard on what she calls her date with Rex Harriman, the Long Island, New York man charged with killing 3 sex workers and leaving their bodies to rot in the underbrush along the Bayfront Highway. As she put it in a TikTok post from Monday through her account at your under recovery under stylist, he really weirded me out. I didn't want dessert, she remembered, of hightailing it out of dinner. Harriman, a 59-year-old father of 2, was arrested last week after federal, state, and local investigators linked him to the long cold case through a cache of evidence, including cell phone tower site data, DNA from hairs left at the scene, and an internet search history heavy with torture porn. She'd met him on one of the sketchy sites back then, Brass 34. Joked to Insider on Tuesday of the dating website she frequented while living on Long Island. Quote, this is in quotes, "I just wanted girls to understand how dangerous those sites can be." The hairstylist and mom, who now live in New England, said of why she's coming forward, including to Insider and Good Morning America, which will air an interview with her on Wednesday morning. I didn't see that interview. Maybe they haven't aired it yet. Brass, like many Long Islanders, followed closely the then unsolved Gilgo Beach serial murder case, including the 4 petite young sex workers, all in their 20s, whose deaths prosecutors have alleged were committed by a single client, Harriman, a Manhattan architect. JB says, I wonder if he had a partner like his brother they killed together. That's scary. Yeah, he's definitely amongst the worst of the worst. We haven't seen anything yet. I mean, imagine when he starts talking. And we're going to talk about another serial killer that he reminds me of. And I'm going to get your guys' opinion on that. What freaked Brass out most about Harriman, he knew about a victim whose death at the time of their date hadn't been publicized yet, she said. So I don't really know where to totally begin with this, Brass began, nervously describing the date in Monday's TikTok post. It was anywhere from 2014 to 2016, she said. And part of me thinks that I should go to the cops and talk to them because he did say information that, like, wasn't let out to the public, she said. And honestly, that's what made me lose the date, she said of her decision to bail. Because I knew, because I was watching the news and I was following this case. They met at a place in Port Jeff. She said in Monday's post, meaning the town of Port Jefferson, a 50-minute drive from where Harriman lived with his family in Massapequa Park. A seafood place, she said, and it kind of had a bad feeling to begin with, but I don't always trust my gut. I was young and dumb, and so I went, she said, giving the camera a wry smile. Dinner began with a drink and what she called normal conversation. What do you do? They asked each other. What are your hobbies? And then he brought up, are you into true crime? He was like, are you a true crime fan? And I was like, actually, I am. I could probably tell you more about serial killers than their own mother can. It's bad. Harriman then asked a question that, in retrospect, now sounds chilling. Well, do you know about the Gilgo Beach killer? Of course, she remembered answering. Everybody on Long Island does, she told him. We're all following that case. Harriman started spouting off about his knowledge of the case, she said. And he knew a lot, including, she said, about a body that wasn't announced on the news yet. It was not just him, she said, adding that Harriman's description leads her to believe now that there were other people involved. Whoa. Here we go. He has taken the fall, though, I think, for all of them, she said in the post. The architect was very detailed, she said, of his knowledge of the Gilgo Beach case. And as he spoke, he seemed like he was reliving it in his head, she said. He seemed like excited, like it piqued his interest. He sat up straighter. So I'm wondering if that's what, he's on a date. I'm wondering if that's what turns him on is talking about his crimes and thinking about violence. So, he's trying to set the mood. That's what he's doing. He's creeping her out, but that's how he sets his mood. When dinner ended and Harriman asked, well, do you want to go back to my place? Brass hesitated. I don't know, she told him. I'd have to follow you in my car. No, no, no. She said Harriman insisted. Get in my car with me. Leave your car here. I'm not going to leave my car in a random lot in Port Jeff, she said. She protested. Harriman kept trying to persuade her into his car. It'll be fine. No big deal. Just come with me, she said, he told her. When Brass stood her ground, telling Harriman that she didn't feel comfortable getting into the car alone with a stranger, he turned angry and insistent, she said. That made me even more like, I got to get out of here. Brass shakes her finger at the camera and she closes the post with this thought. Thank God I trusted my gut. I left after that check came and I never spoke to the man again. So this here made me think that he would get these dates and he would ask them, hey, do you know about these murders? And they would say yes. And then at the end of the date, he would be like, well, guess what? I'm that serial killer, and then begin like torturing them and seeing the fear in their eyes. I wonder if that's why he brings it up and why. And I think he was probably targeting her. I mean, why else would he insist that she got into his vehicle? If he was just looking for some companionship that night, like by all means, just follow me. I don't care what you do. If you just come hang out with me. That's why I called you. That's why we're on a date. I want some company tonight. She's like, she even agreed. Like, sure, that's fine, but I'm going to take my own car. Yeah. And the fact that she said the way that he was kind of speaking made it seem as if others were involved. Yep, Grunge Truck is right. He brought the bags up to people as well. And that's a great segue into this. He asked, I mentioned in part 2 that he was asking somebody that was part of a work group that was giving him a ride home. He was asking them also, do you like true crime? Have you heard of the Gilgo Beach serial killer? And she was like, yeah, we all have, kind of like the same situation as the last girl. This was not a date. This was more of a coworker situation. But he asked the woman, why do you think he uses the burlap sacks? No, he called them nets. Why do you use the burlap nets? Well, after a long discussion we had, there was a comment by Nana Nurse 83. So shout out to you. I mean, this was a great comment. She said it was to camouflage them. Think about it. If you dug a hole out here from an aerial view, it would stand out. But if you wrapped them in this sack, which is a exact color, and this is a picture of Gilgo Beach here, in that tall grass. Look at how well it just blends in. So I agree with her. I agree with Nana Nurse 83. I think that's the right answer. Anna, if you owe 81,000 in back taxes, your business is doing really well. Anna says, I think Rex Harriman and his brother hunted. I wonder if the camouflage burlap was something they used while duck hunting. Maybe unusual item for Long Island, something to mislead. That's possible. Yep, Grunge hit it right on the head. Here comes the speculation. Yeah, there's going to be plenty of that, and there's going to be plenty of new answers coming out daily. I'll do my best to cover this case because it has my attention right now. Because I mean, every day that I look into it, something new blows my mind. Yeah, make sure you trust your gut. If your gut's telling you something's wrong, it's because there is. Hey, Solar Chef Steph, angry and insistent. Yeah, let me go ahead and get in your car now. Yeah, you've convinced me. I don't want to upset you, Mr. True Crime Serial Killer guy. But I see that I've upset you, so I'm going to go ahead and comply. Hell no. Trust your gut. Yeah, bringing up true crime seems like a way to get away with hiding in plain sight and get away with reliving it with somebody and kind of getting some kind of weird satisfaction by the fact that that they're well aware of the serial killer and he's getting off on the fact that he's right there talking to them and they don't know it. Anna says decoys used in waterfowl hunting are sometimes hauled in burlap net bags. Really? Write that down. That's interesting. Hey, Leslie, good to see you. Nice. So you caught 1 and 2. Yeah, if you guys are just jumping in now, I recommend watching the other 2 before you come over here. Unless you don't mind. Because we're starting on page 20 and there's only 32 pages. Oh, wow. That must have happened later in the day today, Leslie. Because I checked early this morning. Thank you. Make a note of that too. That way I can post it on my community page if there's any changes in his my case. I wanted to say MySpace for a minute. You think, right? Camouflage. I think those bags would look like grass from the sky. Welcome, Eddie. Yeah, maybe keep the elements from getting to them. We know in a lot of cases, bodies become scattered. You know, you have animals, maybe flooding or something. Yeah, it seems like a burlap sack. You can just keep it in one place, camouflaged. You know, something if people were walking through there for whatever reason, they would just walk right past it. And if helicopters or planes were trying to surveil the area, you know, it'd be easy to overlook something like that. I mean, look at the coloring on that. Almost matches perfectly. Thank you, Beach Fairy. If you guys want to catch part one, there's the link. And I'm going to go back and make sure all the links are in all the descriptions of each of these videos. Make it easy for you guys. Hey, Brian. You expect any opening surprises when there are other arrests and who they are? I don't know yet, but there are some things that are hinting that there might be others involved. I mean, just the totality of this whole thing is crazy, and he has Rex has access to a lot of wealthy people. I think there was an article that he did some work for Donald Trump, even some architectural stuff for some of his buildings. So he could be very well connected. And you know, a lot of these elitists, um, I mean, if you can buy a judge and you're a psychopath, you're gonna try to get away with what you can get away with. So who knows what type of groups he was in, you know, and what types of things they were planning as a group. But I don't know yet. Not sure. Just not enough information, but there's a lot of hinting towards others being involved. So I think we could expect some surprises for sure. Hey, Joey. And there's the link for part two. Thank you so much, Beach. Yeah, that's a great point. Just kind of embed itself into the grass. Yeah, I could totally see that. JB says, just feels like this might be the kind of new Leopold scenario. I'm not sure. I was confused by that. Went missing in July, found in December. Joey says, hey, Sleuth, I may have found 3 victims of this guy going over unsolved serial murders. I based it on his MO. Smart, dude. The murders were in 1991 in California. They were dismembered, put in burlap bags. It's very interesting. Thank you, Beth. Yeah, if you guys want to check out some merch, hit it up. I didn't find too much information on this, but apparently these are the memorials for 3 of the victims, and there was these strange dolls laid out there. So I haven't had an opportunity to verify any of this information. It looks legit. But apparently 3 similar dolls were placed at these memorials. You have that one. This one has like the mouth ripped out of it, which is kind of weird. No, all kind of like the same style of doll. And then they removed this doll from his home. A lot of weird stuff. Yeah, I could see that grunge taking out any footprints or tire marks or anything like that. Drag marks. Pengrath, good to see you. I think he was maybe searching for places with active serial killers to find new dumping grounds and have them blamed on other killers. Hunting ground. I could see that. He seems very arrogant. I think if they find any other cases that are tied to him, they're going to be they're going to be something very sloppy. Maybe something like dismemberment, like you were saying. So what you were saying, Joey, he could just be evolving, but I think we're going to learn a lot more. Yeah, hopefully he starts talking. The other serial killer that this guy's reminding me of that we're going to talk about here, he eventually came forward. I guess we can take a look at that now. Have you guys ever heard of the case of Todd Colehep? Todd Christopher Colehep is an American sex offender and serial killer convicted of murdering 7 people in South Carolina, which is interesting, right? Between 2003 and 2016. In addition, Colehep kidnapped at least one woman, raped another, and claims to have killed many more. Born in 1971, 52 years of age, born in Florida, went to the University of South Carolina, currently incarcerated, imprisoned at Lieber Correctional Institution in Ridgeville, South Carolina. Span of his crimes were from November 25th, 1986 to November 7th, 2003, August 31st of 2016. And this was in South Carolina. But here's a quick little media clip for you guys. And yeah, to me, this is very similar.
In South Carolina could be dealing with a serial killer. While investigating the suspect accused of holding a woman captive, officials say Todd Colehep dropped a bombshell confession about a 13-year-old cold case, allegedly admitting he gunned down 4 people in 2003.
Sir, just understanding that the family's here, anything you wish to say at this time?
Not at this time, sir.
Colehep is charged with kidnapping Kayla Brown, who disappeared in August, along with her boyfriend Charles David Carver. Search teams are still scouring his nearly 100-acre property, where Brown was chained up by the neck and ankle, locked in a shipping container, and where investigators found Carver's body in a shallow grave, saying he was shot multiple times.
I guess calm. He's remorseful.
The seemingly successful realtor returning to his property over the weekend in an orange jumpsuit, reportedly showing investigators 2 more graves on his property. In one, another body.
There's supposed to be one more down here, but we're going to keep searching until we are positive that's it.
Investigators are checking other properties Cole Hepp owned for evidence and going over any unsolved cases looking for possible connections. In the meantime, Cole Hepp is facing charges for that 2003 quadruple murder. Janae Norman.
Yeah, so I thought it was strange that he was already reminding me of this Todd Cole Hepp guy, and then now they're looking in South Carolina. I mean, what are the odds of that? I mean, guess there's not that many states, but see what else I pulled for you guys. That might be it. I think I yanked this off of abcnews.com. Okay. So it's kind of giving you an idea where his office was, where they arrested him, location of the bodies found connected to HEUERMANN, down on these islands here, and then HEUERMANN's actual home. So look how close that is. I mean, that's arrogance, complete arrogance. And I have a feeling that it wasn't always that way. So I think we're going to be learning a lot about this creep, a lot more. I think these serial killer types are more sophisticated than we think, and I think that they group up more than we think that they do. But look at this disgusting. Looks like an enlarged photo of some kind, but it's a woman that's been battered, and they pulled it out of his home. So I don't know where this image was. Did his wife not see this? They pull it out of the house. She's got bruises around the eyes. It almost looks like a painting. You see that? It almost looks like he painted it. It looks like watercolor on the hair, and then maybe pastels on the face, or maybe all pastels. Maybe. Man, that's some Hannibal Lecter shit right there. Question is it drawn from memory? Anna says profiler Pat Brown has an interesting show on Cole Hepp. He may have confessed to some cases he didn't do. I mean, that's kind of brilliant. Let's say you're sitting down with 2 or 3 other really smart, really successful psychopaths who have been able to hide, right? Now they're all sitting in the same room, and they all say, hey, if we do this, if one of us gets caught, you got to take the blame for all of it. You know, what's the difference? You're going to spend at the very least the rest of your life in prison. You know, why do that to all of the group? You know, maybe they made some kind of deal or pact or something. And we'll see what HEUERMANN does. You know, we'll see what his next move is. Amy Brock says, anybody think about the serial killer that called into the Howard Stern's talk show? No, that was very interesting. Didn't that guy have a New York accent? Yeah, I think about that all the time, Amy. I thought it was authentic, you know, but I could be wrong. These trolls are really, they spend a lot of time trolling, so you never know, really. It's what they do. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the PCA here. Now, this is going to be more on the DNA and how they tied Harriman to the crimes. Pretty much page 21 and all the way down deals with the DNA, the investigation, and what led them to actually writing up the affidavit. So now we know where these images came from, right? And this is the nail in the coffin for him. A search warrant conducted on the fictitious Springfield Man 9 AOL account further revealed selfie photographs that appeared to have been taken by defendant Rex Heuermann of himself and sent to other persons to solicit and arrange for sexual activity, further linking Heuermann to the fictitious email account and the burner cell phone 347-304-2671 used to establish the account. Yeah, so if he wasn't the hands-on guy, which he most likely was, he could be the guy who arranges it and gets it set up. He has all these guns and stuff. He has his property. I don't know. It just seems like it would be really hard to pin something down. I mean, we've seen what happened to that poor Sarah. She ran up the street and knocked on a door, and one of the people didn't even open the door. So I have a feeling that they just don't deal with crime a lot out there, and there's probably not a lot of police very close by. Defendant Rex A. Harriman was further linked to the burner cell phone ending in 2671 because on May 19th, 2023, defendant Harriman was observed by law enforcement via video and field surveillance at a cell phone store in Midtown Manhattan and purchased additional minutes, which were added to the burner cell phone. Yeah, this is a pretty smart guy planning and plotting horrible acts. Oh, he's got his sunglasses on and everything. Damn monster. Page 23, we got a couple more images of him in the store. It's a cold-blooded killer right there. Yeah, Beach Fairy, that's a really rough case. When you hear the details and the violence that's involved in that case, yeah. It's on this level for sure. Yeah, very similar, right? Like the same person. And the other guy was a real estate agent. Yeah, Carol. Yeah, if he's an architect, he's definitely a great artist, because he's going to have to do probably millions of sketching, millions of sketches. Yeah, most designers can draw. Well, yeah, if his wife is blonde, his daughter's most likely going to be blonde. Joey, his MO is dismemberment, put in burlap bags and dumped in the Oak estuary. He did the same on the East Coast. He dismembered, but in burlap bags and dumped in Oak Beach. So you're saying they've tied those murders that you're looking at in California to some similar murders in New York? You should have led with that. Page 24. Analysis of the Springfield Man 9 AOL account also led to the discovery of another email account. See Hunter 1903A3. See, I'm getting these vibes like they were hunting people. Here and after the Hunter 1903A3 Google account used on February 14th, 2021 to send an image of a prostitute from upstate New York between two of HEUERMANN's secret email accounts. Further investigation revealed that Hunter 1903A3 Google account was created on February 14th, 2021 using a burner cell phone ending in 1697 as the user's phone number and SMS recovery number, and subscribed in the fictitious name Andy Roberts. So I wonder if we can find anything on social media from some of these strange accounts that he has here, like Andy Roberts. The same fake name linked to the target Tinder profile and burner cell phone ending in 1697, as well as the same alias utilized by defendant HEUERMANN in communications with numerous potential sex partners responding to his advertisements for sex, and the fictitious birthday of August 6, 1972. Isn't that when John Benet Ramsey was murdered? August 6th? Which corresponds to the digital ending of the burner account thoc080672 at gmail.com. In addition, Google provided IP address information for the user's acceptance of the terms of service, which revealed that the terms of service were accepted on February 14th, 2021 from IP address 24.184.75.31. Significantly, records were obtained from Altus doing business as Optimum, which is an internet service provider, indicating that the IP address at defendant HEUERMANN's home address was also 24.184.75.31. Moreover, based upon SCPD records for the official website, GilgoNews.com, a website maintained by the SCPD to disperse news pertaining to this investigation, defendant HEUERMANN's home IP address was used on May 23rd, 2020 and July 3rd, 2020 to access the official news concerning this investigation. Records obtained from JetBlue also show that the same IP address was also utilized to book flights for defendants HEUERMANN and his wife in 2018. When analyzing the usage of all devices and accounts used by defendant HEUERMANN, there appears to be a clear pattern wherein HEUERMANN used burner phones and burner junk email addresses, contact sex workers and sex partners to conduct extensive searches related to sex and prostitution, violent, sadistic, and CSAM. We'll take a break here, and we'll catch up on the chat here. Thank you, Beach. What's going on, Marbles? It's a big knot. I don't even know how you guys can type that, even though it's funny. Yeah. Hey, Miss Thang. Yep. Drop some comments. Let us know what you think. The big gut. Good one. I know, that's how I feel. He knows, Grunge Truck says he knows everything about soil and sand and how it moves. He's a smart guy. It's like he didn't intend to get caught, but he wanted people to find him eventually. It seems like he wants the fame. So I don't know if this is going to be part of his next step. Admitting to it, maybe having them take him to some of the old dump sites like they did with Gary Ridgway. I don't know, but there's going to be a lot more information coming from this guy. They really caught a monster here. You know, we got to give them, we got to take our hats off here. He wasn't done. They even in the earlier pages of the affidavit we read in part 1 and part 2 said that he was looking up CSAM the day he was up until the day he was arrested, and looking into prostitution. So he, he wasn't trying to stop at all. So, who knows? He could have been getting ready to kill somebody that week. I don't know, Marbles. I never heard of that one. Hunting people is like one of those things. It's like chopped up to like snuff. Like people don't really think it exists. But usually people that are going to do something like that have the means to hide it. Anybody that's powerful enough to be in a group of people who just so happen to be killers and psychopaths just like you, I mean, you got to go through a lot of things have to happen for you to be in that position. Yeah, I agree. Eddie Haskell says they need to find out everywhere this guy has been for the last 30 years. 6 to 8 girls turned up murdered in New Bedford, Massachusetts about 20 years ago. Really? Wow. Anna says, no, John Bonet's birthday was August 6th. Okay. Yeah, I knew there was a connection there. So that's kind of strange. What? Wow. Joey, good to see you. They are checking to see if they are his kills. The lady I spoke with on the tip line said she would find my first tip and do a write up on it and send it to detectives. So we'll see soon if I was right. Yeah, good work on that. Another set of eyes never hurt anybody. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're going to be like, no, this is definitely not connected. That's literally the worst thing that could happen with a good tip. Yeah, I'll take a look at that, Anna. I think that's going to be the next stream. I'm going to look at cases like that because I have a feeling that's what was going on here. Maybe even filming it. Yeah, Beth. I need to write that down before I forget. We'll do a comparison on that. Yeah, that is interesting. All right, let's continue on here. 3, he would seek online information about authorities investigating his crimes. These burner cell phones and email accounts with fictitious identities were used in an effort to conceal HEUERMANN's true identity, conceal his criminal activity, unlawfully proposition sex workers, and attempt to monitor an investigation of his crimes. DNA analysis of hairs recovered from the examination of the victims' bodies. During the course of this investigation, each of the 4 victims' bodies were examined by a forensic scientist with the Suffolk County Crime Laboratory, which reveals as follows: Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Barnes had been left restrained by 3 leather belts, one of which was utilized to tie Barnes' feet, ankle, legs together. During the examination of the belts, a female human hair was recovered from the buckle of one of the belts by the Suffolk County Crime Lab. Hereinafter, female hairs on Barnes. On or about December 18th, 2010, the Suffolk County Laboratory this hair and was able to determine that it corresponded to a Caucasian head hair fragment. Although his hair was not suitable for nuclear DNA profiling at that time, it was subsequently submitted for further DNA analysis. Megan Waterman had been bound by clear or white duct tape. During the course of the examination of Miss Waterman's body, 2 female human hairs were recovered, one from outside the head area and the other from the tape of the head area. Both hairs were recovered in the vicinity of Miss Waterman's head. Hereinafter, 2 female hairs on Waterman. Examination by the Suffolk County Laboratory indicated that the 2 female hairs on Waterman exhibited Caucasian European characteristics, but were unsuitable for further DNA testing at that time. The 2 female hairs on Waterman were subsequently submitted for further DNA analysis. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think women should be alone with just anybody, even somebody that they've known for a little while, unless you really know who they are. Some of these people are really determined and patient, It's kind of scary. Yeah, mid 90s. Yeah, I'm going to screen grab it and then I'm going to make a comparison for you guys. And we'll play it on the next I might just drop a little video about it. We'll see. See how much time I have. Yep, that's what it's all about. The fear, power. Amber Costello. An examination of the body of Miss Amber Costello revealed that she appeared to have been bound by 3 pieces of clear or white duct tape. During the course of examination, Miss Costello's body of female human hair was recovered, specifically on a piece of tape inside of the burlap wrapping in the vicinity of Miss Costello's head. A subsequent examination of the female hair on Costello led to the determination that it had Caucasian European characteristics. However, it was unsuitable for further DNA testing at that time. By the Suffolk County Crime Laboratory, the female hair on Costello was subsequently submitted for further DNA analysis. Forensic Laboratory Number 1. As noted above, the female hair on Barnes, 2 female hairs on Waterman, and a female hair on Costello, collectively the female hairs recovered on the 3 victims, were all sent to the outside forensics laboratory. Forensic Laboratory Number 1 applies DNA techniques and direct genome sequencing in difficult-to-solve forensic casework and the identification of human remains. In or about July 2022, Forensic Laboratory Number 1 was able to determine that each of the aforementioned female hairs recovered on the 3 victims each belonged to a female individual in mitochondrial haplogroup K1C2, not sure what that is, and that this female was not any of the victims. On or about July 21, 2022, the undercover SCPD detectives recovered 11 bottles from a trash receptacle that had been left out for collection in front of the residence of defendant Rex A. HEUERMANN. The Suffolk County Crime Laboratory took swabs and said bottles, which were subsequently sent to the laboratory for DNA profiling. Looks like this is page 27 here. Hey, Nana Nurse. Hey, we were just talking about you. Based on these new submissions on or about February 24th, 2023, forensic laboratory number 1 was able to conclude that one of the DNA profiles generated from the aforementioned bottles taken from defendant Harriman's residence indicated a female individual belonging to mitochondrial haplogroup. This profile was then compared against the previously tested female hair sample recovered on the remains of Miss Megan Waterman, which indicated that the two belonged to the same individual or someone closely related. Based upon the investigation, the evidence recovered to date that the female is believed to be the wife of defendant Harriman. Forensic laboratory number 2. On or about March 23rd, 2023, the Suffolk County Crime Laboratory requested forensic laboratory number 2, a lab specializing in forensic mitochondrial analysis, to conduct additional independent analysis on or about June 12, 2023. Forensic Laboratory Number 2 issued a report concluding that the DNA sample from the female recovered from the bottles outside the residence of the defendant Harriman and the female hair on Costello indicated that the mitochondrial DNA profile are the same at all compared positions common to and between samples, specifically at the rate that would, as per capital EMPOP database, exclude 99.98% of the North American population from the female hair on Costello. That's huge. That's huge. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, he's no matter what, this guy's busted. Let's just put it that way. Okay, page 28. Forensic Laboratory Number 2 then compared the profile associated with the DNA sample from Harriman's wife to one of the two aforementioned female hairs recovered on the remains of Miss Waterman, which also resulted in the conclusion that the mitochondrial DNA profiles are the same at all compared positions common to and between samples, specifically at the rate that would, as per EMPOP database, MPOP, exclude 99.69% of the North American population from the hair recovered on Miss Waterman. Based on the foregoing, while 99.98% of North American population can be excluded from the female hair on Costello, and 99.69% of North American population are excluded from the female hair on Waterman, it is significant that Harriman's wife cannot be excluded from either the female hairs recovered on the remains of Megan Waterman and Amber Costello. As previously noted, defendant Harriman's wife was out of state at the time of Miss Waterman and Miss Costello's disappearance and murders. As such, it is likely that the burlap tape, vehicles, or other instrumentalities utilized in furtherance of these murders came from defendant Harriman's residence, where his wife also resides, or was transferred from his clothing. Yeah, my wife's hair it's always over. It's everywhere. I don't think I can get dressed any day without having at least one hair like on my shirt or something. Male hair linked to defendant Harriman. During the initial examination of Miss Waterman's skeletal remains, the burlap materials, the Suffolk County Crime Laboratory was also able to recover a male hair from the bottom of the burlap used to wrap Miss Waterman by her killer. Hereinafter, male hair on Waterman. An initial examination of said hair revealed Caucasian European characteristics. However, the hair was unsuitable for further DNA analysis at that time by the Suffolk County Crime Laboratory. This hair was subsequently submitted for further DNA analysis, and on or about July 31st, 2020, Forensic Laboratory Number 1 was able to generate a DNA profile for the hair recovered on the bottom of the Waterman burlap. Specifically, Forensic Laboratory Number 1 determined that this hair belonged to a male in mitochondrial haplogroup V7A. Following the discovery of the Chevy Avalanche, which was registered to the defendant HEUERMANN, and the investigation of cellular billing records and other items on or about January 26, 2023, a surveillance team observed and recovered a pizza box thrown by defendant Rex A. HEUERMANN into a garbage can located in front of 385 Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. That's crazy. Reminds me of the Koberger case, where they followed him all the way out there to Pennsylvania. He was running around with rubber gloves, apparently. Yep, no denying that DNA. And if it is, and even if you could deny it, it's still very convincing for a jury, right? They're not going to believe it. The odds, once they can break down and explain those odds, yeah, it's almost impossible. That looks like a Domino's pizza. This pizza box was sent to Suffolk County Crime Laboratory for analysis, where a swab was taken from the leftover pizza crust on or about March 23rd, 2023. The Suffolk County Crime Laboratory sent the swab from pizza crust abandoned by defendant HEUERMANN to the Forensic Laboratory Number 2. On or about April 28th, 2023, a detective hand-delivered from Forensic Laboratory Number 1 a portion of male hair on Waterman to Forensic Laboratory Number 2 for testing. So they're like, no, we're going to personally deliver it. You know, none of this. We're going to send it to you. From my hand to yours. On or about June 12th, 2023, Forensic Laboratory Number 2 was able to determine, as to the male hair on the Waterman and the swab from the pizza crust, that mitochondrial DNA profiles are the same. Bam. What do? They, wipe their hands. Got them. North American population from the male hair on Waterman. Based on the foregoing, while 99.96% of North American population can be excluded from the male hair on Waterman, it is significant that defendant HEUERMANN cannot be excluded from the male hair recovered near the bottom of the burlap, utilized to restrain and transport Megan Waterman's naked and deceased body. Arrest and search of HEUERMANN, his residence, and other locations. So we'll take a quick pause here. Yeah. Thanks, D. Okay. On or about the evening of July 13th, 2023, defendant Rex A. HEUERMANN was arrested by Suffolk County police officers. Searches of his residence as well as other locations are currently ongoing. At the time of his arrest, defendant HEUERMANN had on his person the burner cell phone ending in 2671. Oh, man. See, he was getting ready to do some dirt, which was linked to the T-Hawk email account used to conduct the online searches described above. Penalties. If convicted on the current charges, defendant Rex HEUERMANN faces multiple sentences of life without parole. So that's pretty much it, guys. That is the probable cause affidavit. Nana says, interview with Nikki was on about 90 minutes ago. I was late here because I was watching. Yeah, I'm going to pull that for you guys. And when I put some content together, when I cover this case again, probably maybe in the weekend, give it a chance to have some discovery happen.